Final round action from the Scottish, picturesque North Berwick, Scotland. The Renaissance Club, and side by side and in stride for much of the day, Chris Gotterup and Rory McIlroy vying for this title, others injecting their names as well. McIlroy efforting his 30th career victory, Gotterup just a lone feather in his cap. Scotty Scheffler likes to collect them in bunches. How about 2 strokes at a time? A 50-foot eagle there at the par 4 fifth. Back into the mix, just 3 back of the lead, but ran out of runway. T8 for Scotty. Hasn't finished outside the top 10 since the Players back in March. As for McIlroy, their 2023 Scottish Open champion, reaching the drivable 5th as well, and had all of 347 in it. A 2-putt for birdie from there gets him to 12 under and into a solo lead. Despite an opening bogey, Chris Gotterup undeterred. After a birdie at 7 to tie McIlroy atop the leaderboard, here at 8, a touch of class. Wedges it inside 6 feet, would convert to get to 13 under. Rory at the very same hole, a 13-foot putt to get to 13 under, and sometimes things just work that way. McIlroy to the bottom and to the top of the leaderboard, tied with Gotterup, but not alone. Once again, Matt Fitzpatrick trying to leapfrog his way up this leaderboard with an eagle look at number 10. Yes, he did. From 34 feet to 12 under, would follow that up with a birdie at 11, momentarily tied atop the leaderboard alongside McIlroy and Gotterup. The leaders at 10. Gotterup looking to answer, and another beautiful wedge inside 5 feet. The solo lead once again, 3 under on the round, and the first to reach 14 under for the tournament. McIlroy in a spot of bother at 11, taking his medicine, and now up and down from there to not give anything back. Made a steely putt for par at number 7, and here at 11 does it again. McIlroy, a proper links par, keeps his head above water. But Gotterup continued to apply the pressure. The par 3 12th only surrendered 4 birdies on the day to this point. Well, make it 5. Gotterup stuffs it inside of 3 feet. The man wants it. Gets him to 15 under, now a 2-shot advantage over McIlroy. Marco Penge, you'd say lingering all weekend long? Doing more than lingering here on the back 9 after a birdie at number 14. Here at 15, Penge, a thing of beauty as well. Now T2 alongside McIlroy gets him within 1 shot of the lead. To 16 we go. Rory's last good chance goes begging on the high side, a missed opportunity. Gotterup, meantime, taking full advantage. Erases a bogey at 15 with a birdie at 16. The lead now back to 2, walking tall down the 18th hole. It's stars, stripes, and bagpipes for the American in Scotland, Chris Gotterup, your 2025 Genesis Scottish Open champion. It's his 2nd career PGA Tour victory to go along with the Myrtle Beach back in 2024. But folks, we are a long way from Myrtle, and a distinction added to the name Chris Gotterup as he becomes the 6th American all-time to win the Scottish, and with that earns admission to next week's Open Championship at Portrush.
Chris, your 2nd PGA Tour win, but certainly the biggest of your career. For a guy that has played so little links golf, to take down this decorated field, including Rory McIlroy, what are you most impressed with from yourself this week?
I just hung in there tight and tried to keep it together here, but after my start this week, really just struggled, and then I found something on Friday, and today I knew it was going to be a grind, and yesterday was a grind too. But hitting the bunker on the first hole, I'm like, oh, here we go. But held it together really well, and man, it was so much fun out there.
We can hear the emotion in your voice. Why?
Give me a sec. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it out, but everyone at home, I don't know, but it's just awesome. I'm not going to be able to keep it together.
You don't have to. You've earned this moment.
Yeah, it's awesome. I can't wait to see everyone, and then I'm playing in the Open next week.
You have earned your invitation to the Open. You can cancel that flight that you had booked to California. Take me back onto the course, though. The 16th, you said last night that one was going to be important, and you made it when it mattered most. What was going through your mind after you made that birdie and led by 2?
I thought about those interviews, and I said, here we go, like, this is it. And it went right in the center, and I was like, all right, let's hit some good iron shots and good tee balls, and man, I really, really hung in there well today.
Well, we know everyone at home is watching you right now, and there's no way they have a dry eye either. Congratulations. Enjoy this.
Thank you.
That is emotion earned for the 25-year-old from Jersey, and he's taking a trophy back home with him, but first a trip to the Open Championship. Was not qualified for the Open Championship prior to this victory, but he's got new plans next week and a win to go on the mantle alongside some trending performance. Chris Gotterup claims his second. And for more, we get you out to the site where the lead voice of golf on CBS. Trevor Immelman joins us with his thoughts on the tail end of another thriller in Scotland. We keep getting them, Trev, these last few years, and heady stuff from Chris Gotterup in the face of the ranked number 2 player in the world. Just talk to me about the confidence he exuded over this 4.5 hours, what you observed in that aspect, and how he carried himself to this win.
Yeah, I was extremely impressed by how he played. You know, he got off to a rocky start, bogeying the first hole. He even spoke in his interview with Amanda about how it kind of threw him off guard, and he was like, oh boy, maybe this is not going to be my day. But acquitted himself so well, bounced back so well. And like you touched on, you know, stared Rory McIlroy right in the face in a place that Rory feels so comfortable. He's won here. He's played so well here. And for Chris to come back in a couple under, shoot 66 today, extremely impressive stuff from him. I thought that putt that he made on 16 for birdie really was where he took the tournament by the scruff of the neck. And, you know, just 25 years old. I mean, who knows where he goes from here? This is going to be such a massive shot of confidence into his arm. And he's going to be able to draw back on this experience for a long, long time.
Yeah, no matter where he goes from here, an indelible mark on this resume. The year that Rory won his Grand Slam, I got him in Scotland. That's some stuff to remember here for Chris Gotterup. A thought here on Rory McIlroy as well. I'm not suggesting a corner needed to be turned, but it does feel like positivity is once again carried with him moving forward. What is the takeaway for Rory after this near miss?
Yeah, look, I totally agree with you. I mean, he was... I know it sounds weird because the guy just completed the Grand Slam, but he was for sure in a little bit of a lull. Maybe mentally more so than anything, but he's had a couple of weeks and came in here refreshed and rejuvenated and seems ready to go. He's put a bit of work in with his coach, Michael Bannon. The swing looks better to me. He putted well. Today didn't quite have his best stuff. I thought the par 5s really were the issue. There's 3 par 5s here at the Renaissance Club, and he played them in 1 over today. With that kind of power, that really is a problem for Rory. But if we forecast towards next week, the type of reception he's going to receive from his home crowd at Royal Portrush, it's really going to give him a little extra pep in his step, and he's going there knowing that his game is in fine shape. So I look for a big week from him, for sure. Looking forward to actually watching how that unfolds.
The obvious place to go next is the aforementioned place that we go next in Portrush, where Rory McIlroy, as a teenager, sets the course record. Then in 2019, misses the cut with all the emotion that led through it. And I think that's our through line from then till now, is the emotion that Rory McIlroy always plays with. Looking at it through his lens or someone else's, what has your excitement here for our final major of the season?
Well, there's so many things. I mean, if we're going to stay on the Rory topic, I think he's a much better player than the last time the Open was held at Royal Portrush. He's had so many different experiences, so many more wins. He's more complete with his shot shaping. His putting is absolutely better. So for sure, he's going to be one of the favorites. You know, Scheffler did what he always does. He led the field in tee to green this week. Didn't quite have his best stuff, but still had a top 10. He's now had 10 tournaments in a row that he hasn't finished worse than 8th. So just remarkable consistency from the best player on the planet. Look for him to come in with some game. For me, the interesting part is going to be DeChambeau. Look, he's for sure found a formula in the major championships, but at the Open, not so much. You know, is he going to find a way to be able to hit all the little dinky, low shots, running shots, really dip into that imagination to be able to cope with that? For me, that's the question mark. I look forward to that. And then Rahm is another one. He for sure has started to find some form. He's had some good results in the Open, so I think he'll be a threat as well. It's shaping up to be a magnificent end to our major championship season, and I look forward to being at home watching from the couch.
Well said from the great Trevor Immelman. No matter an ocean between us, he's always exactly where we need him. Thank you, Trev. A look here at your winners at the majors this season as we look forward to our final of the year at the Open Championship. Rory has his masterful moment at Augusta. Scotty gets his hands on the Wanamaker to win outside of Augusta for the first time in his major career. JJ Spawn from 70-something feet. It's been quite a major season, and it'll be all wrapped 7 days from today. A champion golfer of the year will be crowned.
Finishes in style, and golf has a new up-and-comer. Nothing but respect from Rory for what he saw, and Wyndham as well.
The arrow is certainly pointed up as we say hello to Patrick McDonald and reintroduce our guy, Rick Gehman. Fellas, a win here for Chris Gotterup, and I know, Rick, you've offered much of your thoughts here on what led to this and what this means moving forward. So, Patrick, I'll come to you first here. How do you really make sense of the assuredness with which Chris Gotterup carried himself over this 4.5 hours?
Very impressive, right? And not only these 4.5 hours, you think about the guy shooting himself into contention. He said he found something there Friday morning, shooting the course record, and then being in contention there on Saturday, and then again on Sunday, sleeping on the lead not once, but twice. But you got to remember, this guy has been a winner at every single level. Collegiate days, he went to Rutgers for 4 years, transferred to Oklahoma, became the player of the year, played great on the Korn Ferry Tour. Kind of another evolution where last year he won on Myrtle Beach, an opposite field event, but by 6 strokes. So this was really the first time he was in the heat of it, and then you're in the heat of it with world number 2 Rory McIlroy, who's everyone is rooting along. And so I know this guy's known for his length and his power, but man, some of those short game shots today, some of those touchy-feely wedge shots over the weekend really impressed me from Chris Gotterup. I thought it was a very tough performance, just knowing how much he had to go against his first time in contention, and then we'll see where it goes from here, knowing his ceiling that we saw today.
It's a really good point, because it's not like he stole this thing late on Sunday. He had to go to sleep on this multiple times, and I love the way that he was able to bounce back. So he made 2 bogeys in the final round. His first was on the very first hole, which can always set the tone a little bit awkwardly, and you never know what direction things are going to go from there. And he was able to birdie number 3 to get that one back, and then he makes a birdie on 15 and immediately gets it back on 16. That's it. The rest of this round was a lot of really good scrambling, a lot of those momentum-saving par putts, the ability to kind of take aim at the pins that you're supposed to take aim at and play away from the ones that you're supposed to play away from. So a really thought-out, well-executed round for Chris Gotterup with the stakes as high as he's ever seen before.
Yeah, we often ask who wants the ball, and he proved on the back 9 here on Sunday that he was comfortable with the ball in his hands and the tournament at stake. And as you guys said, this was a man who did not come back to the field, who didn't let the gravity pull him back to the second-ranked player in the world. Instead, he planted his feet and said, come get me, and Rory McIlroy just didn't have enough on that second 9 to go and get him, Patrick. What did you make of Rory's week? I'm not saying that we needed a reset, but it feels like positivity once again is carried with him heading to our final major of the season.
It does. I felt like it was going to be a good week for him once he poked fun of the PGA of America, right? With Rory McIlroy, you can really tell how he's feeling based on how he's talking to the media. And during this month post-Masters, PGA Championship, U.S. Open, he's been kind of closed off, to say the least. And then he comes up 2 weeks after 2 weeks off, he makes the move with his family to London as well, gets that personal business out of the way, and he's letting it fly. And so you knew he was in a good spot mentally this week. I think the putter is obviously the big story, but his driver just really handcuffed him down the stretch, and it kind of got him on the back nine. You look at the scorecard, not making a single birdie in his final 10 holes, where Gotterup was able to utilize his length. McIlroy wasn't. He made a number of great par saves. You think about the one where he had a hit from the other batter's box on the back nine, keep him within shouting distance of Chris Gotterup. But I thought this week, if Rory McIlroy drove the ball average for Rory McIlroy standards, he's probably winning this golf tournament by 2 or 3 strokes. But unfortunately, just not the way it shook out for him.
When Rory made birdie on 8, he was just about on pace to have the best putting week of his career, and he made nothing after that. I think he lost about 1.7 strokes putting over the course of his last 10 holes. Patrick, as illustrated, mentioned he did not make a single birdie. It was just 10 straight pars. And I also think that he will rue the way that he played the par 5s. To play the par 5s at 1 over par when you're Rory McIlroy is just unacceptable when you have the distance that he has and the ability to score like he does. So just a few small things, but now he gets to go home and he gets to play an Open Championship in Northern Ireland at a place that he probably thinks he needs to get a little revenge from 2019. So we are getting now fully engaged Rory McIlroy going to a major championship and ready to rock and roll.
It's just another illustration of the difference between the second-ranked player in the world and, in this case, the 158th ranked player in the world. It is an exacting test each and every week on the PGA Tour. Let's address the top player in the world here in Scottie Scheffler, who I know we've already examined a bit of here, in his relationship with link-style golf as we head to the Open Championship for our final major of the season and trying to round out what could be a step closer towards his career Grand Slam. Patrick, what does this week mean to you? We often say Scottie either wins or he runs out of holes. Did this feel like that, or was this a player who maybe had his C stuff and again we just find that floor?
It kind of feels like Scottie Scheffler is trying to convince himself that he loves links golf. You hear the sound clips in the media. He's saying all the right things that Scottie Scheffler typically does, but when I think about Scottie Scheffler and some of those sound bites in the press conferences, you hear a lot about him saying how much he likes fair golf courses. He wants good shots to be rewarded. He wants poor shots to be penalized. Links golf is inherently unfair. You're going to hit good shots that might just be slightly offline, and boom, you're in a pot bunker, completely boned. You have to play off sideways, and you're going to do well just to make bogey. And so it feels like he is trying to tell himself that he loves this type of golf. And from tee to green, of course, it's Scottie Scheffler. He's going to lead the field every single week. But we saw on the greens this week a lot of frustration from 4 to 8 feet in general. I think the good news for Scheffler going into Portrush is, one, it's a little bit of an unorthodox links golf test, in my opinion, and 2, it's not going to be the same firmness, fieriness that we saw out of the Renaissance Club, right? There's rain in the forecast that should make the greens much smoother for someone like Scheffler, who really struggled from inside 10 feet this week.
There's rain in the forecast every single day next week. We'll see if that holds true. But yeah, Patrick is right about the fairness of link-style golf, or the lack thereof, because Royal Portrush is going to be more unfair than the Renaissance Club was. It's got one of the larger dispersions or larger range of scores that we see in the Open over the last 25 or 30 years. And it speaks a lot to how small the margins are, hitting good shots that can be punished, the nature of luck and how it's always involved in these style of championships. So that's not great, Joe. If you're the #1 player in the world and there's a lot of luck involved, you want it to be the opposite. You want it to be completely skill set based. So, but I'm expecting Scottie to absolutely be in the mix next week, whether he likes the test or not.
A deeper dive into the Open Championship shortly here on HQ Post Round as we take a look at the way the scoring progressed throughout the week for Chris Gotterup in this eventual route to victory. Again, a record-tying 61-9 under, a scorecard that will now hang on the wall at the Renaissance Club, as will the name, your winner at the Scottish Open. Time now for your FedEx Cup update, where now meets next. A look at the updated standings, where Scottie Scheffler still reigns supreme. Rory McIlroy with more points off of this runner-up finish at the Scottish, the co-sanctioned event with the DP World Tour. Sepp Straka coming in third, but so much implication beyond just this top 10. Back with the guys to assess some of those FedEx Cup implications. Just 3 weeks remaining until the playoffs. Top 100 keep their cards. Top 70 to Memphis. Top 30 into the majors next year. Rick, what's the line that most has your attention coming down the home stretch?
Yeah, a lot of these guys who need to have big finishes are starting to. We've seen Wyndham Clark play a little bit better. Matt Fitzpatrick started the week in 73rd in the FedEx Cup standings, and after a solid finish is now 60th. So he has moved himself from outside the playoffs to inside the playoffs. And guys, we're running out of events here. I know it feels like the summer is just getting started, but we are going to be in these playoffs before we know it. And for guys like Wyndham Clark, for guys like Matt Fitzpatrick, it would be a bad year. It would be unacceptable to miss the playoffs. So Matt Fitzpatrick did what he needed to do in Scotland this week to make sure that he has a good chance to get to Memphis.
I think the cut to 100 cards has really made this season a lot more compelling. Just look at someone like Chris Gotterup, what a revolving door moment this was for him in Scotland. He's outside the top 85. I believe he was number 88 in the FedEx Cup. Say he doesn't win this event. Say he has to go through the FedEx Cup fall, has to battle for that PGA Tour card. Instead, he's inside the top 40 now with a chance to potentially, like you said, Musso, get inside the top 30 for the Tour Championship, maybe stay inside the top 50, get all those signature events in 2026. So I think the cut to the top 100, like some of those names Rick mentioned with Wyndham Clark, Matt Fitzpatrick, Ricky Fowler on the outside looking in, has really added to the complexion of the FedEx Cup playoffs.
It will have us captivated here down the stretch. Patrick McDonald and Rick Gehman offering their thoughts here on the FedEx. And coming up, offering their thoughts on the Open Championship. We deep dive into our final major of the year as we take to Ireland. Portrush awaits. So do you. Back after a quick break.